Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Bodhi Papula, and with me I have Kaylee Horowitz.
Hello.
And we have locked Gibby in the editor's basement. He's not joining us this week. Kaylee.
Bodio.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a heartache.
I had it. I had something to say. I lost it. It's gone.
I'm
it's
here
gone
to
forever.
ruin
It's
your
in the
day.
empty.
That's my job.
I was gonna mention something. Tell me why I should buy a Nintendo Switch 2.
You know, as much as I hate to admit it, they did kind of sell me on the Mario Kart you can play as a Moo Moo. You know? Like, I'm like, okay, arguably, I will say, as not like a religious Mario Karter, some people certainly are more dedicated than myself, but overall,
You're only a Christmas and Easter Mario Kart player.
And so that like, you know what, on the whole, it does seem like each one of these has gotten better in the last like 10 years. I know that was not always the case between like the handheld ones and then the Wii and then eventually the Switch. We're finally seeming to be moving in a linear progression. But there were some of those like expanded like capacity and maps and characters, honestly, that I'm like, okay, no, it looks like you've done what you did with Super 8, where it's the like, yeah, we're kind of up in the stakes all around here. It's not just look at this one new thing and we're expecting you to pay like however much for the game just for the one thing, versus the like, oh, there's a lot here that is tempting. I'm with you on normally wanting to blame Nintendo for a lot of things, and sure. I still do. But this time I'm like, no, actually, Nintendo, I can't be that mad at you because of the cost of the game, because of the cost of everything.
That's just insane.
I can. But I am sure, and I'm sure if there was a different stake in the political climate, that it would probably still be bad, and it would probably still be typically Nintendo price gougey. But in this current moment, I'm like, you know, I'm sure some of that typical Nintendo spirit involved in here, but at a certain point, it's that like almost $100 for a game. Even that's a little ridiculous, even for you lot.
So for the uninformed, there's a new Nintendo Switch coming out. Everybody went crazy for it. The cost of which was originally, I believe, somewhere around $400.
Yeah, like between $400, $500, I think, with fees.
Well, since the tariffs went in, thanks El Presidente, they had then increased the cost of the console by about $100. So the console's going to run you about 500 big ones.
Yup.
Outside of that, Nintendo finally took and video games are always in this direction, but Nintendo has the brand power and the IP power to say, hey, all of our games are $80 going forward.
Which is insane.
This is where I get nerd mad, not also at Nintendo, because fuck Nintendo. Also at nerds, because everybody's like, this is unacceptable. I'm can't gonna do
pay
this.
It anyway.
Yeah, this is so expensive. And then the Switch 2 sells out before.
No, the Switch 2 pre-orders dropped, and literally within 5 seconds, every website broke.
Crashed.
And they were completely sold out of pre-orders.
It's like, yeah, you assholes are idiots.
Stop complaining about the problem when you are the problem.
Yeah, dude. I get really frustrated when people don't. It's like, hey, these companies listen with their wallets, not their ears. So you can bitch and moan about it on Twitter. But if you go and like, you're the first one in line to break the Best Buy website, then you just validated everything they did, you know?
And like, I get there's going to be scalpers with everything Nintendo, with everything new games happen. Like, we all remember the PS5 shit show that lasted for 2 years, pretty much, it seemed like. So it's that, like, you know, I'm not like blaming everyone who's gone, but like, I am a little bit. Like, I'm willing to
I'll die on that hill.
I'm willing to bet half of the pre-orders are going to be like scalped consoles sold for ridiculously high prices once the rest of everybody else's pre-orders show up.
Yeah,
no, it is an insane level of yeah, it's cool. And I'm going to be skeptical and say there's probably still going to be just as bad Joy-Con drift in this new one that there is to the old one. But like,
now the Joy-Cons are as expensive as the game. So it's going to cost you like $80, $90 just
an
for another
extra
controller.
set of Joy-Cons or a new Nintendo game. Your pick.
I get it, man. Developing video games is hard and expensive. And like you were saying with Mario Kart, because in Nintendo's defense, right, they don't miss. Right, most of their games are very, very good. Most of the time, good.
Especially recently, it's been a like, hey, no, it's not like you're just giving us one new thing and expecting us to worship the ground you walk on, like some companies. Oh, let's just do Black Ops again. Let's just do Black Ops again. Oh,
you know, there's a wild stat. So a while ago, Microsoft was buying Activision, and everybody freaked out, mostly Sony. They did this wild stat where they were like, hey, you guys can't buy Activision because Call of Duty is the PlayStation's biggest franchise. And they were like, no, it's not. And Sony was like, yes, it is. We pulled this statistic. About 19% of PlayStation owners have only played a Call of Duty game.
Which is crazy.
Imagine paying 700 bones for a console just to boot up COD. That's crazy, dude.
At the very least, can you play Spider-Man or something?
That's what I'm saying. There's other games to play.
There is life outside your apartment.
And 12-year-olds won't call you slurs on those games, man. Like, there's other stuff you can get your hands on.
Like, dare I say, you could get called slurs by 12-year-olds in Overwatch.
Boot up some Marvel Rivals or Fortnite. They'll call you whatever you want, man. They'll talk dirty to you for real, for real.
No, I want to see in this evolution of like, where do games go from here kind of like discourse that's happening. Because on the one hand, the indie scene is having a big hit of just like, hey, this is a small, like, one person to 20 people having made this game, and you can get it on Steam, and maybe it'll cost you anywhere from $10 to $50, depending on the kind of game. And exactly, indie hits have just been dropping banger after banger after banger, or those that have come from like indie developed like think tanks or studios that are getting backed with AAA support. Which I believe like South of Midnight was one of those where it was like, somebody else was coming up with this idea, and then we got the backing and the ability to make this with the means of a AAA quality studio and all of those accoutrements that come with it. Between that, where it's this like, hey, we're telling stories about like persons of identities that aren't like given the center spotlight a whole lot, and in styles that are unique, like people want a unique gameplay or fun storyline, whatever. We're giving them these things, and then they're still gonna bitch and moan because it's not a white dude or a white girl with jiggly boobs. But between that of like, hey, let's explore niche things, I want studios to look at what's happened with this re-release of Oblivion.
Yeah.
And see that not only did Bethesda go, look, a remake, it's still just as shitty as the original. And that's the charm. And that's the thing they went, no, but we can't fix that because that's what this game became known for. If we fix it, we're going to drive ourselves into the grave.
I think because I bought the Oblivion remake.
Violin.
I bought the violin and played against the devil in a rap battle. I bought the Oblivion remake on like the day it dropped. I threw down $50 and I was like,
I think you and my brother back to back I saw like on Steam playing. I'm like, God damn it, I'm never gonna see my friends and family again.
It's weird, man. I've been thinking about what makes those games exceptional. A long time ago when those games like first came out.
Yeah.
Or not when they first came out, rather. It was around the time of Skyrim. Assassin's Creed was first starting to get like highly scrutinized for their game quality. And I was arguing with a friend about it, and he's like, okay, why does everybody bite at every glitch and error in Assassin's Creed. Meanwhile, I could boot up Skyrim, make my dude do 18 backflips on top of a dragon, and they freak the fuck out. It's great. And I think it's just like,
gets to get away with it in Oblivion and Fallout, but God forbid anybody else has a glitchy game.
I think it's the inherent design, right? Oblivion is a fucked up game. The people are weird. The world doesn't make a lot of sense. The voice acting is shit. But it's a game about exploring the world, and there's so many details at the margin. There are these 10-page books. Some have puzzles in them. Characters have schedules, and you can sneak up and find people. Sometimes cutscenes won't proc the right way. Sometimes stuff won't work out. But there's so many details at the margins that a game, when you run into something that's particularly out of place, it feels like you discovered it. Whereas Assassin's Creed is supposed to be like this highly curated, run around the city, jump on top of a building, kill this guy without being seen, right? It's weird to say that people can feel the intentions behind a piece.
Yeah.
You know, like Oblivion Remake, if people are listening to this and like, oh, should I buy it? I'm like, no. Wait till that shit's on sale or something. It was not worth $50.
Because it's not like they changed the game. It just looks prettier.
Yeah, they like threw it through probably some program up the resolution. If you don't have like a brand new PC, you also really have to fuck with the settings because that shit will not run properly. It's something about exploring and finding like those weird situations or watching your horse break is just it's wholesome, man.
I think that's the secret, though. I think the secret to the next step of gaming is horses. Because hear me out. You're talking about a clean, like beautiful, explorable world with a purpose, like Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
Like I'm thinking of Red Dead 2. Yeah. Where the funniest shit that happens is when the like four-legged animals just don't work.
Yeah.
Like the horses or the deer. I'm thinking of that one recorded snippet that just went around the internet of the like plodding along and you find the woman in the woods. It's like, can you help me? My horse up and died. And then she gets taken out by a deer. Like, character dead.
Yeah,
done,
the Red Dead
over.
has that same leeway, right? It's about the exploring that world. So when you're going through this like ambient subquest, right? Somebody shows up, is like, "Can you give me a ride to town?" Yeah, man. And they get fucking moshed by a deer or a train. Oh,
yeah. Like, and maybe that's the secret sauce. Don't make games like about people in the human store. Make it about humans observing the ways that shit can just get so fucked up and uncanny,
right,
in a matter of moments.
Put people in a sandbox, make the physics work a little bit wrong, and it's a fun video game. You got time. Speaking of
only
video
I
games.
knew how to code.
Speaking of video games, it's Sci-Fi Month.
It's May.
It's gonna be May. Oh, on the day of recording this, Kaylie, my friend, May the 4th be with you. It's the dumbest reason to be like, yeah, this is a faux holiday. This sounds like the thing they say in that movie some of us like. It's Sci-Fi Month.
Yay!
So, Kaylie,
a space opera month too.
Yeah. We count them as the same. Yeah, we count them as the same here on the podcast. Sci-fi space operas. It's all there. Kaylie and I were, in the lab pondering what should we cook up, and then I said, "Yo, Digimon's technically sci-fi." So here we are, baby. It's Digimon the movie.
Here I was going, oh, Bo and I can do Kingdom Hearts Part 2 Electric Boogaloo just to torment editor Gibby, but no.
No, I was like, let me break Kaylie's entire reality.
You want to talk about weird physics?
Kaylie, tell me what you know about Digimon.
I know there's a girl named Sora because when I was first getting into fandom and being like, oh, like, I like this character in Kingdom Hearts, Sora, and going, who's this? I don't know what this thing is, but I guess they have this
little twink.
Yeah, same name. Oh, okay. Got it. I knew it existed in the like same periphery of like Japanese dubbed shows getting put into the Cartoon Network pipeline. Although this one also more was started in like the 4Kids side of the
kind
like,
of
WB 4Kids, whatever block of television it kept getting renamed into, versus like Pokemon was pretty much just always on Cartoon Network. But the like, oh, okay, it's another show of like kids with monsters that fight each other. Okay, sure. Had never watched any of the episodes.
Yeah.
Knew there were a surprising amount of movies for this franchise, but watched none of them. Yeah, there's like, oh, I know Pokemon monsters. Like my brother was a big Pokemon kid, so I was like aware of it fairly often of the new generations of like new Pokemon added to the roster. Looking at Digimon, I was like, why is this one just a dinosaur? Or why is this like a stuffed animal with guns? And then suddenly, when they evolve a certain point, why do they look like different spin-off franchises of the Transformers?
Yeah, dude. Okay.
Like, that's it.
So Digimon, let's do a little quick primer, a quick history. So Digimon, obviously, its closest contemporary is Pokemon, just because, like you said, it was kids capturing monsters, that whole nine.
These are computer monsters, though. They're digital. Yeah.
So Digimon originally was created as not a contemporary to challenge Pokemon, but as a male equivalent to Tamagotchis, if you remember those.
Yeah.
Right? So Tamagotchi is, for those who don't know, were back in the mid-early 90s, digital pets, basically a little toy where you had a pet and then you had to like clean up after it and do all this stuff.
And if you forgot about it, it died.
It died, and then you had to buy a new Tamagotchi. Digimon was the exact same thing for boys. The difference you do all the same stuff. The difference being this one is blue, and now your monsters could fight each other. As it went on and became successful, then they started developing the whole media franchise with the anime and the cards and all that stuff. That's how it got its viewpoint, right? In terms of like monster collecting, that's never the intention. Here's what I like about Digimon, right? Because obviously its closest contemporary is Pokemon, right? Pokemon precedes Digimon by a year. Pokemon came out in Japan in 96. Digimon came out in Japan in 97. And then it's like pocket monsters, digital monsters. I feel like we're very far away from remembering that Pokemon is two words like smashed together. Like they're just Pokemon now.
It's entered the lexicon globally.
Yeah.
Sorry, Digimon.
But for me, Digimon was cool in that Digimon didn't lie to you. It always felt like Pokemon was lying to you, right? They had gotta catch them all from the beginning, which was infeasible from the start, right? Because like there was 150 of the suckers.
Doubling the number every generation.
It's like, yeah, here's 100 more.
How am I supposed to catch God? God is a Pokemon.
Whereas Digimon was always like, yeah, you get one and you have to take care of it. Pokemon skips a lot of these are your pets, right? Because Pokemon doesn't want to get caught up in that. There's 6 of them. You will have 6 of them at the time, and you're supposed to collect a bunch and send them to your granddad's house or some shit. Whereas Digimon is like, you get one, it is a baby, it poops, it needs to eat. If you don't take care of it, it dies, or even worse, it turns into a Digimon that is literally poop and is a jerk. Pokemon also has this, because they're both about kids with their animals going on adventures. Pokemon never had a sense of danger. Digimon was always in a sense of, no, these things will kill you. Because we have our cute Digimon that are complete. They could talk to you. They could tell you their needs, and they will tell you their needs. If they get hungry, they're not going to do anything. The second they get past that, they are monsters. They are kaiju. They are trying to eat you. They are throwing lightning and disrupting everything. As a 9-year-old when I was watching this stuff, it felt like the big kids version of Pokemon. Sure. It was never quite as cool, but I appreciated that.
honestly kind of looking in the landscape of like late 90s 2000s media that explores these ideas of like kids, the internet, cyber worlds, like other realities through digital means, or strange kind of like fantastical monsters and other creatures. Like Digimon kind of sits at this weird intersection of like Pokemon meets Code Lyoko meets like a little bit of like Beyblade or Yu-Gi-Oh! And not just because it's like, oh, we fight things, but like there's different ways in which it feels like there's something actually at stake or dangerous about this encounter with these creatures. And also then just the like the way that the digital world crosses over into reality and these strange like, oh, there's causes and effects here though. Okay.
Yeah, so Digimon come from the digital world. They come from the internet, kind of. Right. As opposed to being part of the natural world, which also has that sense of danger, I think. Because it's like, oh, these things aren't supposed to exist, but for some reason they do. Yeah. And that's our problem. And like you said, it did come at this time of the late 90s, early 2000s, where the internet was starting to skyrocket. It's funny because when they were designing like actual Digimon for like expanding the card game and giving them more of a presence than just the little 2-bit sprites you'd get on your Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
That was the time when American and Japanese media was really starting to intersect. So Digimon specifically were designed to appeal to both a Japanese and a Western audience. And it's hilarious to me that their idea of appealing to a Western audience was, as they get bigger, they get more metal, more guns, and sometimes more tits. And that's Digimon, baby.
Use more gun.
Here's a little dude. Now he's slightly bigger, and his arms are cannons.
Oh,
I love it. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. But Digimon
I'd let my child go play with that. Sure.
It goes back to being a little dude when it's done.
Okay.
But Digimon was oddly successful. Yes, it was always Pokemon's little brother, and it's had a weird longevity.
Yeah.
It was originally distributed in the US by Saban Entertainment, the Power Rangers guys, under Fox Kids, Fox Box, under the Fox programming. Saban eventually got sold to Disney. So Disney took the licensing, at least for the anime and whatnot, for the Digimon series, and it was on ABC Family for a little bit. It was on Jetix, if you remember that.
Oh,
Disney.
yeah.
I knew you would remember that.
I didn't realize that was also where it went to live for a while, though.
For a
That's
long
crazy.
time. And then the property proper is owned by Bandai.
Bandai!
/ Bandai Namco, whatever you want to call it now. They still have series coming out. They still have anime series coming out in Japan. I don't know if they're still getting translated. And I think they still have a steady stream of video games. They have a new Digimon game coming out this year.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Digimon's crazy, man.
It's one of those things that it feels dated. Like, it feels so dated looking at it, and then just being like, and you're still going?
It's like, you guys are still getting it. They had a huge event for their 20th anniversary a couple years back where they continued the story of the original kids, because Digimon does this cool thing. I'm going to fanboy about Digimon real quick. Digimon does this cool thing, whereas with Pokemon, we followed Ash for 20 plus years.
Until he finally won. He can retire now.
With Digimon, every series, season, arc, whatever you want to call it, follows a different set of kids. The first two follow each other sequentially, but after that, it goes to a completely different universe. So you have the first set of kids, 2 years later, we have the next set of kids, and then for season 3, it's a universe where the main characters of the third season watched the show of the first 2 seasons, and they're fans of Digimon, and they play the Digimon card game, and then they actually find Digimon. the fourth season does the same thing. The fifth season does a thing where it's like, yeah, these guys are Digimon. Nobody knows what they are, but they're like secret agents. And then at one point they do the thing. One point they do the thing where they're like, hey, this is the newest season of Digimon. In the last episode, we've broken the timeline, and all of the main characters are back together fighting the bad guy. And you're like,
crossover.
Yes. It's
I
very
love that
cool.
kind of shit though, where it's that like, hey, what if our game exists in the place that the game is like based on? Like,
It's mind bending.
I was gonna say you stretch that mind fuck out to a certain extent, and suddenly it is a little bit of like, oh, what high concept ass bullshit are we doing here with Digimon? Like,
we might actually like do. It's a lot of TV.
That's the thing. I'm like, this is almost as bad as One Piece, from my understanding.
Yeah. Each season runs about 50 episodes. I was like, man, we should do the third season for the podcast, because the third season is Digimon Tamers is very good. Anyway, that's all the primer. Because we didn't watch Digimon, we watched Digimon the movie. So for Kaylie, because Kaylie went into this blind. Kaylie had never seen anything for Digimon.
Nope.
Ever. I'm about to clear up a lot of stuff for you. So Digimon the movie, the American version.
Yeah.
So the two main writers / translators for Digimon, they're on contract. The second season is just ending. It's 1999.
Party 99.
And they're negotiating a contract for the third season, how they're going to write that, what actors they're going to use, how they're going to get paid. And they're like, oh, hey, by the way, on our contract, there's something for a Digimon movie. Because Pokemon is about to come out with Pokemon the first movie, banger. Mm-hmm. And, we got to do something.
We got to have a banger too, they said.
So the source material, the Japanese version, had no movie, but they had 2 20-minute short films and 1 hour-long short film. Correction, a 20-minute short film, a 40-minute short film, and an hour-long short film. So they go to the head of Saban and is like, hey, we can translate these, put them out as DVD extras, make a little extra cash, get on DVD sales or VHS sales at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
And the head of Saban said, no, make me a movie. They said, okay.
All
so
right.
What they ended up doing was taking these 3 short films, editing them and splicing them and rewriting them together into one movie that is so far from the 3 original products that it's considered its own thing. And that's how you end up with the Digimon movie, 1999's Digimon
2000.
Yeah, 2000, correction.
Was it October 6th?
October 6th. Like it's on the it's on.
No, I only know that because of the poster. Yup.
Yeah. Dude, this shit sucks, but I love it so dearly. So it's 3 movies mashed into one with all the 1999 bullshit you could ever ask for.
It's like my favorite thing in theater, where it's that like, a new play. Why do I get the suspicion that this is just like 4 10-minutes in a trench coat?
So like we said, Kaylie went into this blind. Kaylie, what'd you think?
I don't know what I watched. Like I do, but I don't know what to walk away from each of those 3 acts with, I guess. And I think it's because you could tell the style is that like, oh, this is a TV show that got some like movie quality, like upgrade money or focus. Mm-hmm. Like even if the budget wasn't increased by that much, it's that like, oh, we're doing like dramatic shading and lighting effects in ways that we don't do with the TV show all the time. I was kind of thinking of Pokemon the first movie. In the back of my mind, because it's that like similar style of like, ooh, it's like the TV character designs, but they're cooler. They are more like
there's more frames.
Yeah, there's more frames. It feels special, and just thinking about that in the background of what I'm watching, like
So this movie's all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's 3 movies mashed into one. 3 unrelated movies outside of being Digimon mashed into one. And so what the writers... Go ahead.
I thought the first part, because it's the like, hey, here's actually something that would be that kind of interesting, like, here's how this all got started, because the show is like in media res. We're just like going with the concept of, we just have these digital monsters, and this is just what we do, and we're a team. Having that, like, oh, actually, here's like how this came to be. Drop us into a kaiju fight. Like, let's go back in time, and then drop us into a kaiju fight, and then go back in time 24 hours earlier. And then get back to the same kaiju fight. It's like, what? Okay.
What are we doing? And we called up and saying we were going back to the past. Why are we doing a flashback and a flashback?
And this is how I knew that I was in for a trip. Was the like, not I've seen the art. I've seen the style of the Digimon. I've heard the theme song. The theme song's a fucking banger. It's annoying as hell after a loop of like 2 minutes. But Digimon, the digital monsters, Digimon are the champion. I was like, I know that. And every time it would come up, I'm like, oh yeah. But having heard literally nothing else, I was like jump scared firstly by, was it Kari,
yes.
Kari, her starting the narration, because I went, Haru, Beastars, what are you doing here? It's just like, I know this voice actor and I know she does other things. More Kingdom Hearts. She's Chirumi,
sure.
The little tiger, little fairy creature thing. I was like, I'm blanking on your name, but I know your voice, but just got jump scared by that. And then,
Gatomon. Are we still talking about Digimon? Where are we?
No,
okay.
I'm talking about Kari's voice. Kari's voice actor.
Yes.
Is like 2 things that I like recognized after like a brief momentary like jump scare whiplash. Was like, oh, okay, but then got floored mentally with the we're opening with the kaiju fight, and be like, oh, it's Mothra and Godzilla. I mean, it's a T-Rex, but like I don't know the Digimon names. My apologies. I'm just gonna call them weird animal names that spring to mind. I'm so sorry to any diehard Digi fans.
I'll throw in the names where I know
who
them.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in the middle of this fight, it's the like voice actor jump scare, and then okay, there's a fight going on. I had to pause and like put my face in my hands at just hearing the like crash, boom, roar of the like, oh my god, it's just a guy.
He's just a dude.
It's like Pokemon, like all of the like Pokemon sounds for the most part. I don't know how much they still do, but early on, those were all voice actors like that. They were manipulated and like put effects put on their voices a little bit, but it's like Pokemon were voice actors making the noises. Like that's not surprising. It's the fact there's like no filter, no treatment on it. It's just a dude.
It's just a guy. Digimon's crazy in that there is no way to discern which Digimon are feral and which ones aren't. So they run in as translators as a problem. It's like, hey, any one of these little dudes can just like break out in Shakespearean iambic pentameter. We just have to, guys. It's like, all right, you're Parrotmon. Parrotmon is checks notes. Not sentient. How's your roar?
Love that. Oh God. But yeah, that's right within the first 15 seconds is how I knew I was in for a time.
Yeah, it's also 90s voice acting, so the quality is there's no way of knowing.
And I will say this, the consistent thing, I think, across all three parts that I did enjoy is that because it's 90s and also like dubbed in this scope of like, hey, there's no rule book for this. We're just trying to make it like kind of work, but also be entertaining for kids. And also, you know, it's ridiculous and over the top anyways. And so it's much more age appropriate.
Yeah.
But there's so much of it that feels like the goddamn Ghost series of
Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories. Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's that like these, I don't even know if these translated lines were like written in a script so much as y'all are just doing this off the cuff.
Yeah, so part of why this is considered an original piece as opposed to the mashup of 3 movies is because of how much they changed the script. So the writers had just these 3 short films to work with to mash into about an hour and a half worth of movie. So what they did was they edited it together to make a coherent enough story.
Yeah.
Wrote punchlines. And then justified the punchlines as they were going. And so it shows.
Yeah.
Right? There's obvious jokes that like are tangential to what the original script probably had. Yeah. There's a lot of spaces, especially in part 1, where the kids in Digimon are creepily articulate.
Yeah.
Like they have very pronounced vocabularies and sarcasm. There's very obvious parts. Part 1 is 8 years before the start of the original series. The thing about Digimon is that Tai, our first main character, at the beginning of the series is 12, and his little sister Kari is 10. So you have this 2-year-old who's using very high coherent sentences. Part of Kari's kind of tweak is that she in the show is that she's sickly and she's not exactly verbal, though she grows out of that. So that's why she has the whistle when she's nonverbal. The writers decided that's hard, and yeah, she's a toddler. She's speaking in full sentences though. We're going in.
It's like Rugrats and other like children's show rules. They're allowed to talk to, like, the kids are allowed to talk to each other, just not the adults.
Yeah. If the adults are even around.
Yeah. Which exactly. Mom just like, I'm going to the health food store. Bye.
And again, the jokes are nonstop, man. It's the kind of jokes I like. There's a lot of wordplay jokes. We open with the first short film, which is a prequel to the series. Tai and Kari, who are 2 of our main characters from the first season, find a Digimon that's not the same one that Tai has, because Tai also has the Digimon's called Agumon when he's like the orange dinosaur, and then Greymon when he's the kaiju. Tai also has an Agumon and a Greymon, though the scale is different.
Yeah.
Digimon makes as much sense as we need it to.
That's why I was like, I don't know if this is meant to be the same one, but they're calling it the same, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same species, but it's a different one.
Got it.
And the premise is, obviously a lot of it was cut, and they kept the bare bones of it to keep the story going. The premise is the kids who first interacted with this Digimon, Tai and Kari being the main ones, eventually go on to become our protagonist, and then all get their own Digimon. They go to the digital world, go on an adventure, fight Digimon Satan like twice. Digimon's fucking wild. It's great. Then we fast forward in the movie 4 years later to after the first season, so in between the first season and the second season, where we get probably the most influential thing Digimon has ever done. In the movie, it's called 4 Years Later. That's the act. It's act 2. Yeah. The short film is called Digimon Our War Game.
I love Ender's Game.
It's fucking sick. The premise is a Digi-Egg shows up on the internet where it's not supposed to be, and it gets a virus. That virus then goes crazy and starts eating up all of the internet. And it's our kids' duty to grab their Digimon again and stop them. It's fucking cool. There's a lot that happens in this.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Would you say how did you feel about this part when in comparison to the other 2?
It felt like I mean, and again, I was kind of expecting, not knowing the background of like the origin of how this even came to be. I was sort of like, oh, so what's happened here in our prequel, we're gonna get like, plot line tied over into the second part. No. But I kept expecting that of like, oh, is there gonna be some like relevance to that here?
No.
Again, thinking of a normal movie structure, not knowing, oh. We had to glue these things together with duct tape in a dream.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like, I don't want to say complete whiplash, but it feels like within the span of a minute at a time, suddenly the stakes raise like dramatically. And there's some good like roadblock to the characters of being able to do anything, I guess, along along the way for like those different outlets, but it is a level of like, we started this as like a weird thing's happening on summer vacation, and then suddenly imminent nuclear disaster.
Yeah. So, and this is kind of what Digimon does all the time, but again, when it's condensed like this, you're like breaking your neck watching the tennis game. There's the undercurrent of this computer virus getting more and more powerful, and trying to not only eat the internet, but eventually get so powerful that it invades the US government and sends off 2 ICBMs.
Yep.
One to Willis's house, a character who we'll visit later, and then the other 2 where our main characters are. It's ICBMs. They translate it as nuclear bombs. I feel like that's in bad taste given that they live in Japan, but who am I? Yeah. When we talk about the tonal whiplash, like we said, they wrote punchlines for jokes and then filled in the script later. There's a lot of like jokes going back and forth. The one Kaylie and I mentioned, for example, is Ty and one of our other characters, Izzy, are like Rush. Their internet has gone down because the evil Digimon at this point, I think it's already Infomon at this point. It evolves and it changes its name. I'm not going to say Mon over and over again. The names aren't important.
InfoWars Mon.
Damn. Alex Jones Mon is fucked up. He has their internet connection is shut down. Izzy has come back with a way to join up a satellite connection, and he's explaining it. And they're rushed. And he's like, "Well, it's hard to explain, but do you know what a semiconductor is?" And he's like, "A train driver who works part-time." It's like, what are we doing here?
Well, like we open part 2 with just like middle school, like young adolescent like problems. Like Ty and Sora have had a fight, and he's like writing this, how do I apologize to my friend, like letter, which I did think was kind of like stupid. Like another good joke that I liked was the like, because again, this was that like, this is so stupid and extra. I feel like y'all were joking about this in the writer's room that you just threw it into the script of the like, I'm sorry about what happened. I haven't felt this bad since I accidentally threw up in your hat and didn't tell you before you put it on. That line, I was like, what? Dude, you idiot. And like, we get that's kind of Ty's personality, is the like obnoxious goofball. But there's so many of these little like slice of life things. And Kari's going to a birthday party, and he's just like, what do I do? And seeing things are going on. Izzy's like, I found this Digimon, and then the ball gets rolling. But then suddenly it is this level of like, oh, okay, so now we're getting into the story is happening. And yet we keep just like having these like rando lines thrown in for good measure as it's like, oh, suddenly it's eating all the data in grocery stores and people can't buy food because it's not the right price. Oh no, it's hacked the phone company. Phone lines are down all over the globe.
Oh my God, when it calls everybody at the same time and they're showing these scenes of people on the train, hello. People in the park, hello. A guy pops out of the bush. It's like, what are you doing?
It's so dumb. It's so good.
So again, to give more premise, because it's hard to like keep up with this stuff, especially if you don't know the source material. the world is in danger, but our protagonists, it's during summer vacation, so our protagonists are like all
Scattered.
spread out.
Yeah.
Matt or Ty and Izzy's one of our protagonists, computer whiz, are together. They're managed to get together, but two of our others characters, Matt and TK, who are brothers, they're off at their grandma's house in the boonies, and the only computer they can find is at the local barber shop. Mimi, who's the rich girl, is on vacation with her family in Hawaii. Sora is mad at Ty. Kari's at a birthday party that she just can't leave for some reason.
She's already volunteered to get sawed in half when the magician comes.
It's like so stupid. It's like, just tell her a nuke is coming.
Right.
She'll come back.
Thing that was the like, I get the joke of the phone tag that eventually we get as they go, we figured out a solution to the phone problems. Just dial this code, leave a message, or you could leave a message, press 2 to receive message. I'm like,
yes.
How does it know? How would it know? And we get a good joke, I guess, in that like between Matt and Ty are finally like responding to each other. We're just going back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, just say that like things are happening, Ty.
Yeah.
Use your
Explain
words.
the situation. Stop saying, hey, call me back. Hey, this is an emergency. Just tell people what's happening.
Every message ended with, call me back. Call me back.
And it's important that Matt is the one who shows up because Ty's our protagonist. Matt's kind of like our, I believe the trope's called our Lancer, our Vegeta, our Sasuke, our number 2 guy.
Anti-hero.
Yeah, not so much anti-hero, but definitely I'm the cool guy. I'm not the main character, but I'm just behind him. Right?
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, our Shadow to Ty's son. But again, that implies that they get adversarial for the sake of plot, but they're never like fighting.
No, they're not like
other.
enemies against each other.
Yeah. But it's important that Matt shows up because Ty and Matt have the strongest Digimon. So if shit goes down, we have to have at least those two.
Oh shit.
Which it does. So I keep mentioning how influential this part is specifically. The animation quality on this one is fucking insane.
Yeah.
So much so that the director of the original version of this film, Mamoru Hosoda, went on to make a movie called Summer Wars, which is basically just this movie again, but with original characters. Very, very good movie, by the way. People should go watch that, from 2009. He was also the original director for, hold on, Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because of this one. But he got in an argument with the production company, and Miyazaki ended up having to do it himself. No, dude, this shit's tight. It's the most like typical anime where the enemy keeps powering up. Our 2 main guys get destroyed, but by the wishes of all the kids on the world, power them up into fucking Omnimon. A dude with 2 heads for hands. One of those heads has a sword in it, and the other has a cannon. And he gets a fucking cape, and Omnimon's fucking dope, bro. He's so cool.
It's a little Voltron looking, but I'll allow it.
It's very Voltron. Yeah, it's fucking dope though. It's one of the most iconic things that ever come out of Digimon.
Oh, sure.
Hilarious enough. How did you like the kind of horror that Digimon like inches up close to all the time?
Well, like, I guess the like suspense horror, I think, was what struck me the most. Mostly just because, like, by the time we're getting to like fighting, then it's like, oh, okay, it's anime fights, you know, sick punches and action sequences. But like, I think the horror in this is definitely that, like, oh, you know, here's a creature that's like causing problems, you know, for inventory and food systems and banks and then phone lines, and now communication globally has been shut down. And like, even the little details, like, we're constantly he's antagonizing like Ty and the main characters by sending them emails. This is also where I'm just hitting that point of like, oh 1999, like, I mean, the internet is still a baby, and so it's that like, to be so plugged in already when, it's hindsight is 2020, but there's so little. There's so little to be plugged into, and yet, like emails and the way that early proto internet was working was like such a like, I don't know, it's such a different time. But like email and instant messaging being such a particularly specific thing. So we're getting those messages from this creature that's like, oh, okay, yeah, we know some Digimon are like sentient to have conversation, but like this one's a little creepy and sinister, and it's like leaving fucking Saw like riddles for us in its cryptic messages. But you can notice the email addresses too clue you in. Like when he's like, oh, like guess where I am, and you see the handle is from the like cell.net something. Yeah. You're like, oh, it's the phone company. The like whatever it sends when it's traveling to the States, and it's like dos like ny.gov.us.
Yeah, once it gets to .gov email.
Oh no. Because then they're like, oh, it's traveling to America and it's eating through all the information at the Kennedy Airport terminals.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Uh-oh. Shit, that's important.
So like it's that kind of escalation that's just like, oh, you couldn't have stopped it. It's just suddenly like, just, nope, that's there now. It's an even bigger problem. The hungry caterpillar keeps eating, and now he's going to blow you up. And then they always
undercut it with a joke just so it doesn't get too scary.
Yeah,
because obviously the target demographic for this stuff is 6 to 12, right?
Sure.
But Karamon, who it starts off with, Karamon, then Inframon, the Diaboromon, they're all very scary looking. Like they're all big eyes, creepy smiles, and lanky limbs.
Like puppety looking too. Yeah. It's a little unsettling.
Inframon is 1-to-1 based on the idea of the Y2K bug, right? This thing that once all the clocks, for folks who don't remember, the idea was once all the clocks swapped to the year 2000s, they wouldn't have to take it and everything would shut down, thus causing planes to crash and bombs to go off. It was a nonsense argument then, but people used to be really into predicting when the world was going to end. I'm glad we never stopped. That much anymore.
And every year it feels like we're just a little closer, and yet it won't come.
Dude, it's legit scary when the phone calls come up. Ty's like, hello, and he's like, hello, did you program me? I was like, uh-oh.
No, thank you. Don't like that.
And then, just Diaboromon invading the U.S. government, sending 2 ICBMs.
Yeah.
After Willis, a character who we'll start speaking about, and then 2 after our main protagonist. It's I forget what the internet serpent is. It's like the idea that a program becomes sentient and it's malicious, especially against the people who are trying to stop it. It's that brought to life. And it's kind of like, uh-oh, this is a little horrifying. Digimon's always been like I said earlier, Digimon's always had a sense of danger to it. That series, like Pokemon, doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So they always border on the horrific, which I like. But then we assemble Voltron on the hopes and dreams of little kids and kick his ass with 1 second left, brother. It's cinema. It's so cool.
The way it does resolve becomes the like, oh, yay, cool, anime, we saved the day. 1 second on the clock, we did it. But like, everything kind of building up to that is this level of like, it's insane that like knowing the way the internet works, it's more complicated than it's laid out here. But
for
like,
sure.
Honestly, it's just almost as simple as described here. Like if you can network your way, hotspot like your way through servers around the globe, through firewall, through other security protocol, it could just be that easy to fuck shit up. Easy. Like that's kind of the like, oh, like it's simplified, but like not greatly. Yes.
And then we get to part 3, present day.
Oh, before we leave part 2, though, I want to give a favorable shout out to my other my top 3 of these like humor moments of like,
Yeah.
I can't tell, is this improv or was this scripted? In no particular order, other than just like I'm looking at the script for reference, because again, these just fly through and I forget what I've heard like after 5 minutes.
Shout outs to the Digimon fan community who put out transcripts of all of these movies years ago, I assume. Good job, guys.
In no particular order is the after the phone lines are cut and Ty's trying to call people still, the operator line where it sounds so robotic as like, all circuits are busy. All circuits are still busy. Didn't you hear me? Because that's when I went, wait, isn't this just a pre-recorded message? It's busy! Like, great joke. 10 out of 10. So good.
All circuits are busy. Try again later. The circuits are busy. Try again later. The all circuits are still busy. Didn't you miss me? It's busy! Hangs up on Ty.
It's so good. But yeah, like that, the semiconductor joke, brilliant, stupid, love that, no notes. The payoff of finding out what the whole rift between Ty and Sora was, being about a hairpin and a hat, and it's this level of like, and here's the like dumb adolescent shit from the very beginning of this at a time of crisis when the world is about to explode kind of thing. Slash also Izzy suffering the consequences of Ty's mom's health food craze.
Yeah.
Like every item she says, everything she says is a like, oh my god. Like, and that's such like 2000s humor too, of like, what are the snacks that mom makes? Bad.
Yeah, it's just gross.
Slash also, honestly, runner-up is her joke of like, did you hear all the phone lines are dead? Well, now my sister can't call me 3 times a day. Like, girl, you could just not answer. It's so dumb. But this is such a just great little throwaway bit about this character. It's like, I didn't like care. I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but I didn't like care about you. Now I just know a little something more about her now, I guess. Great.
Ty's mom can't cook. So part 3, present day, is kind of what ties everything together, or is what the writers used. Again, these are 3 individual short films that they mashed together. The reason they made part 3 kind of the through line is because they expected people to come watch this movie to be already familiar with the series.
Yeah.
And part 3 centers around a character who doesn't exist in the series. He only exists in the movies. I.e. Willis. From the jump they do with Kari doing the voiceover, they're like, by the way, there's this guy named Willis. He's always existed. Don't worry about him. You know, they did a good job of, I think, for a kid's movie, of saying, yeah, this guy is here. We don't see him, but he's always in the margins. In part 2, he's sending emails to Izzy.
Yeah.
He's pegged as this whiz kid who's really good with computers, already taking classes at Colorado State, even though he's like 9. Even though we get to present day and he never touches a computer nor mentions them.
Yep.
That's because we had to add that in. So again, this is a movie for kids, and everything includes characters your standard watcher of this movie would know, except for Willis at the end. So what the writers wanted to do was introduce this character early and try to make them important in a way. So when they show up and they're the center point of the last third of the movie, it's not like, well, who the fuck is this guy?
Who's this guy?
Yeah. So Willis is not a computer whiz. He's not even sending emails to Izzy during part 2. We added that into the American dub just so he doesn't go anywhere. I don't have a lot to say about present day because I think it's the worst part.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's the end, right? We're exhausted at this point.
Right.
From this, we've gone from focusing on season 1 of Digimon to season 2. I imagine that was definitely a kind of hayride for you, from following basically the same characters, and now here's Davis and Jolie. It's like, who are these clowns?
Right, yeah, well, definitely that, like, okay, I can tell I'm missing something contextually of who they are, Because, like, otherwise, why would they be here? And also getting to the third part and going, okay, so we just solved a nuclear crisis in the last one, so I'm starting to suspect that this is 3 separate plots in a trench coat. By the last one, I'm suspecting this. I'm not gonna rack my brain going, who are they? When clearly was like, okay, I'm assuming this is something like that, where this is a different season of characters. Kari's still here, kind of.
Yep.
But yeah, we're meeting a new batch dealing with, I guess, kind of the same problem, but not really.
Yeah. So the premise of this one is the kids are now in the US. Mm-hmm. Willis has 2 Digimon, which is not usual. This is unusual, right? Usually you only get 1. He has 2. And one of them has gotten a virus and is rampaging it and telling him to go back to the beginning and being all creepy and haunting him and whatnot. Again, Digimon kind of coasting the lines of horror, but never crossing so much that it would freak kids out. And our season 2 heroes get called over and end up meeting Willis and traveling with them for a little bit. It's hard because with season 2, backstory, season 2 is a few years after season 1 of Digimon in canon. Mm-hmm. So our first set of characters, we had our first set of characters who were all around middle school age. And then we always had Kari, Ty's little sister, and TK, Matt's little brother. They were in elementary school. In season 2, all of the standard Digimon kids are all in high school. Yeah. But we keep the eyes on like the 12-year-olds. Yeah. So TK and Kari still hang out. They look different. They look older. And that's where we insert Davis, Jolie, and I can't remember the third kid's name. The little dude with the bowl cut with Armadillomon. They get introduced as new Digidestined, or what the main characters are. So we have the two veterans and then the new kids. And the new kids kind of always get most of the spotlight because they're the new kids. Yeah. But TK and Kari are always there in the wings, being like, we know what's going on. Relax.
Drags a cigarette. Yeah, I've seen this all before.
Yeah, and that's really accent in this one, right? Where TK and Kari started, they initiate the call to action because TK and Kari are in New York visiting with Mimi, one of our characters, one of the older kids, one of our main characters from season 1.
They're like on vacation. And
they're on vacation.
Derailed.
Yeah, literally. Haha. And then, they're on a train and they get hijacked by something that may or may not have been edited out for time.
Right. We do just kind of like, all right. Yeah. Moving on.
They get derailed and come back in the end to initiate the end. That's kind of what TK and Kari do in the season 2. But it's like after all this time, we've been like, Willis. And now we spend time with Willis. We show his Digimon, and his whole thing is he's trying to escape his infected Digimon, Kokomon, with his little buddy Terriermon, and they're fighting. It's fucking boring. I said it. There's not a lot to say about this third part, man.
There's an emotional reunion at the end.
Yeah, it ends very sweet.
There's a nice, let's ride off into the sunset, close this out. But like... Mm-hmm. It really is we put all these characters together, we fight the thing, but other than the just sort of drop for time, do we get to see on screen resolution of Kari and TK getting kidnapped? Yeah. we just sort of have a fight, close it out once the 3 find Willis and they hitchhike their way to Colorado.
Yeah. And this is kind of where me as a kid, I remember distinctly sitting in the movie theater, kind of like how you had the aha moment. This is 3 different parts, or there's 3 different things stitched together, in part 2. I had it in this part because, again, there's a lot of translation stuff. There's a lot of censorship in Digimon. Mm. It's a Saban piece. It's that 4 kids era where it's we have to Americanize and make it safe for kids. They do the whole... get all the way to the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and then they call a pizza truck.
Yes, I love the like, hey, can we hitch a ride with you?
It's like, no, these kids are hitchhiking. Like they're the one kid, I can't remember his fucking name. Armadillomon's guy, Cody, that's his name. Jesus.
Huh.
Cody's like drawing on something, and they never address it. He's drawing a sign so they could get picked up on the side of the road. But that was the thing. If you're old enough to remember from cartoons in the back in the day, they did not want kids emulating that.
Nope.
So stuff that was like hitchhiking and whatnot, they would try to censor and be like, no, they're not hitchhiking. They called this guy and they trust these people.
Also, what's her name, being like, oh, I have an uncle that has a taxi cab. He's got these airline miles, so that's why we had to take this way. No more uncles, no more. It's so stupid.
For me, as a kid, where I really put it together, I'm like, wait, no, this isn't right. Is Willis goes through his backstory. It's like, yeah, I was with Kokomon and Terriermon. They were my only friends, and then Kokomon got picked up by the virus, and we've been on the run from him ever since. And Davis starts crying. He's like, that's the saddest story I've ever heard. Then Willis is like, hey man, calm down. Like, this happened to me, not you. And Davis immediately, okay.
Yep, it's like, right, I better.
He's like, that was fast. Like, they acknowledge it, but even as a 9-year-old, I was like, wait, nope. Something's not right here.
Story beats don't quite line up, do they?
No. But it's fun, man, especially given the rest of the movie. What did you think about, we kind of skirted on this. What did you think about the soundtrack?
I was just about to say, I don't want to know what the original Japanese song choices were.
Yeah.
I don't. The surprise first song you hear outside of the Digimon theme song being Funk Soul Brother.
Yeah, just like Fatboy Slim out of nowhere.
Just in the middle of nowhere, in this, like, we have a Digimon and it's like quickly growing and evolving and we have no idea what's going on in part 1, but right about now, the Funk Soul Brother is playing in the background. I'm like, I ascended. I'm gone. And then, oh no, we had a similar, what was it in part 2? I'm blanking on the song now. Again, it just moves so quick.
All my best friends are metalheads. They just break out a ska song for no reason. And then the movie ends in All-Star. To close it out
with All-Star. And honestly, I know there's got to be like video. I know I've probably watched one of these video essays of like all the other, ranking all the instances of All-Star being used, sort of thing. Like, because I'm like, no, it's not just Shrek. There were other things that used this song before Shrek did.
It wasn't written for Shrek. It was written for Ben Stiller's superhero spinoff movie.
I think so. Yeah.
Because that was still when we were making attaching pop songs to movies.
Right.
And the Ben Stiller movie went nowhere, but then they put it in Shrek, and people were like, Smash Mouth.
But yeah, closing it out with Smash Mouth, I don't want to know what the originals for these ever were. This is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Pure 2000s essence soundtrack selection here. No notes.
Yeah, dude. That's one of this movie's claim to fame as well. On top of the, like, we've Americanized the OST and made it techno and the digi-rap and all the hilariously bad original songs we wrote for the series. There's also they throw in some butt rock, they throw in some ska, they throw in some college rock, and it's like this beautiful time capsule of what was pop music in 1999 to 2001. If it were it just like, and it always hits you in the face. You're never expecting it.
No,
you're just chilling in part 3, right, watching the movie, and then Kids in America starts playing. You're like, why? What? Who paid for this?
Right? Where did we get the money for this licensing? Hello? I don't remember what I watched. I truly don't. But I know that besides just a like, what a great grab bag of music to throw in here, that exactly is that like consolidated, this is 1999 through 2001. My favorite thing about just the writing and translation of this is like Ghost Stories, is these strange, absurd, but well-timed and well-delivered jokes and that become justifications of these, like, we have to censor it this way because it's for kids. We have to make it work this way because we're pressed for time. Whatever it is. I love that kind of, like, early aughts dubbing style where it's this does nothing other than it's a ridiculous justification to just throw in here because the flaps are moving or we're just holding on this shot that, like, why not? What does it do? Nothing. And that's what makes it great.
Just ending thoughts. Bro, they made this movie on a budget of $5 million. It brought in 16. It brought in 16.6. Like they were
crazy.
Deep in the black.
And that is 2000s money.
That's 2000s money, bro.
God dang.
This movie, it's my favorite awful movie.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's so much fun. It's 88 minutes, bro. Just give it a watch. But you have nothing better to do, have a couple friends around, get some drinks, be like, y'all want to watch Digimon? Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Want to get Digimon and watch Digimon? Hell yeah.
What Digimon?
An altered state of reality, Bo. Your choice.
I'm feeling like Litmon, brother. Crossfade Mon. Digivolve 2. Oh man.
Don't abuse substances, kids. Here's the PSA at the end of this. Don't hitchhike and don't abuse substances.
Don't hitchhike, don't abuse substances, and watch Digimon. That's been this episode of the Liberal Artist Podcast. Thank you for joining us, man. Follow us on our socials. Give us 5 stars. Apple Music, YouTube. You can't give stars on YouTube. Whatever the fuck.
No.
Join us next time when we design our Digimon personas.
DeviantArt prepared me for this.
Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodhi Opapula, Kaylee Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at Liberal Artists Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
His name is fucking Parrotmon. Why did they pick him as the bad guy? He's so whack.
There are a lot of other things about this that I could say is a little whack, but I'm scared. I'm scared to peek at what the rest of that iceberg looks like.
Okie dokie.
Apologies in advance, Editor Gibby.